Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another BC and OC takeover. We've got several news articles to talk about, and we might be seeing some movements heading our way over on that Bitcoin chart. I'm sure OC's got some of that pulled up and ready to go. But how are you doing this morning, OC?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. All good. Pretty pumped. I mean, we did had a Bitcoin stopped out yesterday, but oh man, it was barely stopping us out and then coming back up to profits. Well, it is what it is. We know that it was coming. We need to be a little bit cautious right now because on the 30 minutes, it's looking good-ish, but still ranging. So a real danger for a flat positive bearish continuation is forming right now, and we'll see how that goes. But other than that, doing fantastic. How about you? Did you have your morning coffee?
Oh yeah, I've had a little too much morning coffee this morning, but you can't really complain about it. I got the day off work. It rained a whole bunch, and you can't move dirt when it's mud. So get to do a Piper takeover here with you. And if it's anything like last time, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Let's get it.
Well, I've got a few news articles to kind of share this morning. Before we get into all of that, though, let's see how the market is looking this morning. Did you want to be on the screen or off the screen for this, OC?
Whatever you like, my friend. I'm up to whatever.
All right, well, let me get that pulled on up here. We're seeing a little bit of some movements in the traditional markets this morning, kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. A lot like the crypto markets are looking like this morning as well. Let's get that pulled on up because you guys mostly here for the crypto. We like to have fun, be a little bit of a degen. We've got several big movers in the green and a few seeing a little bit of some pullback here. So we do have Bitcoin down 0.2%. We've got Ethereum down 0.5%, XRP up 3%. We've got BNB down 0.2%. We've got Solana down 2.2%. We've got Doge sitting down 0.9%. Tron sitting down 1.3. We've got Cardano down a whole percent right now. We've got Chainlink up 1.4%. If you were with me yesterday on Good Morning Crypto, we called out that link long. It is getting very close to TP number 2. So if you took that trade with me, very, very close to that TP2. We've got Avalanche up 8.3%. We've got Hyperliquid losing a spot in the market cap, sitting down 3.8%. We've got Shui up down 0.6%. We've got Stellar Lumens up 1.7. We've got Bitcoin Cash down 2.2. HBAR up 0.2%. Leo token holding steady as well as Litecoin. So let's hop over to those fear and greed meters because we're looking a little bit greedy on the stock side. It's been holding in that light greed for quite a while now. We have been seeing all-time highs on some of these indices, so not too unexpected as we also watch our dollar lose some strength. Getting over to that crypto side of things, though, we are hitting some fear, which does kind of lead us to a point where we could get some nice pumps if we can sweep some bottom side liquidity, really hold some key levels, and then watch money flow coming back in here. Let's hop over to those liquidation heat maps because we do have a little bit on the shorter term time frame that is sitting directly above us, but zooming on out to this 3-day is where you really see that we've cleared out a bunch of the liquidity and now it's just sitting directly above us from all of the resistance we saw on that push towards the upside. You'd really have to zoom this on out to a little bit of a higher time frame around that 2-week to really see where all of the liquidity is. And that's way back up here at that $118,000 mark. I'm sure OC will tell us where we need to find some support here in just a second before we could try to make our way back up there. Do you want to dive into that Bitcoin chart real quick and then we can dive into some news?
Sure, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, well, let me get your screen shared for the people and you can dive on in and show them what you're looking at.
Perfect. So we were looking at this area right here. We have a reversal coming down right after a sell signal. This usually calls for a flat positive bearish continuation, but we were trying to squeeze a little bit out of this market. So basically just going up to this point and maybe coming back down. But seems like it is actually fighting, struggling. Not only that, it took us out right here with a stop loss, but that's fine. I mean, at the end of it all, we are testing the waters at 1/4 of a position, not even a full position right there, right? So let's go and check out, for example, the 30 minutes just to see or follow up along this. Let me just get rid, of course, of this long position because it's already taken. And well, then we'll see how this is developing. So we're coming back down strongly. We're having a ranging here. The clock is ticking. We are supposed to look at this right down here, right? We are supposed to be already pretty bullish based on the oscillator, and the thing is just not moving up. We already had a look at that, a triple divergence and plus other two independent divergences, and we're just not making it through. Yes, it's true that we have the little U pattern in here that is known for a further continuation, like coming up U pattern, and then hey, comes back up. But so far, we're just not seeing that continuation upwards, right? Well, the clock is ticking once again. Dynamic reactor is coming down strongly, right? And that means that we're not only getting to my box of resistance, but also getting to that dynamic reactor. So right now we're gonna be looking for a head switch, right? So we're gonna be going for a short position right at the resistance, but this is not a confirmed entry. All right, guys, we're not there yet, and we need to still calculate how far up our stop loss will need to be, and that will have to be above where our quantum reactor is at. All right. Oh, wrong button right there. Let me just push this like this. All right, so something like that, and then aiming for the very next low for TP number one. Let's go back to the 4 hours, but once again, remember that is not a confirmed entry. We're still waiting for what's going to happen, and well, I'm still holding for a possible target of 125. It did not happen immediately. We were having this retracement, which still bullish, by the way. Why? Because if we go very far out, you'll see, and let me hide this for a second or even go to a cleaner chart of Bitcoin. There it is, that we have not only a very, very megaphone, which is truth, but also we have this upcoming trend line. All right. So if we start looking where those things are coinciding, let me zoom in here and you'll see that the main target for those areas, there we go. And we already had it marked right there, right? It is right here, not only because this trend line comes in here, but also because here it is, we have a bunch of disparity being allocated in this zone. Not only that, if we go to, there we go, support and resistances, we are in between two daily supports and at the center of a predictive range. All right. And if we come back once again here, we see that we have our money flow POC right at that same area. So we have a bunch of confluence at this area, and that's what we're going to be looking for. Maybe a bouncing scenario, maybe higher low or something like that, but we're going to be applying the same system. Let's wait for this to come back down to this area. Look for our oscillator right here. And once our oscillator is having that flip of the ribbon, that we're going to be trying to long the bottom, just like we tried to do it here, and then calling a portion in here out as we retrace and then continue upwards. So once again, we're doing the same areas or we're looking for the same zones. Let's go back to the chart at, there we go. Oh, this is not loading for some reason. Come on,
I've
trading
been
view.
having the same issues. TradingView is not wanting to load for me this morning either.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Trading View. Yeah, reload Trading View, and maybe they might be a little overloaded or something. I don't know. I'm just not shielding Trading View. They're big enough to get more servers. All right, so the point right here or the area that I want to go over, and that is our liquidation maps right here. So let's turn them on and let's see what is it closer. Hey, Is it closer? What is the big area to be getting closer? Is it closer 118? I don't think so, right? Is it closer these two lines right down here and 110? Yes, I think so. But there's a big liquidity chunk right down here at 106, 106 800, 106 100. So do expect those areas. As you can see, everything is pointing out that at least we're going to have another pullback down to 110. So keep your eyes peeled, guys, because this could be a quick movement and then a retracement. Once again, right here, let me throw my trend line. I know it's going to get just slightly bit noisy, so keep up with me here. All right. And we're going to be going like this. All right. So that's what I got. Again, somewhere around 110 areas for our next possible entry. So keep your eyes peeled right there, guys. And well, keep it coming. We'll see how that goes. Turning it back to you.
All right. Well, I did have a few things to take a look at. As you can kind of see here, we are seeing those chances of our next rate cut coming on down. I know we talked about this the other day. Piper's talked on it a little bit too, but we're starting to see those chances that we hold rates steady increase here. And this is right on the back of a bunch of Fed chairs speaking yesterday. Here's Fed Hammock talking about the focus on inflation being the real caution point with some further rate cuts here. I know everyone's been a little bit hopeful. They want to see those bags get pumped. There was a bunch of talk about a 50 basis point rate cut. Honestly, I'm quite glad that we took things a little bit cautiously, especially since we have been seeing some extremely big warning signs here. As you can kind of get into it, we are well above that 2% target, which we've talked about quite heavily here on Piper Academy over and over and over again. Well, Hammock came out and said, I think we're only a short distance from neutral, and it worries me that if we remove that restriction from the economy, things can start overheating again. Which is kind of what you've started to see across the board in both and in places like Canada, in the EU, the UK, sitting in a very similar position. A lot of these countries have been a little bit past that restrictive point. They've kind of opened up the floodgates, really let monetary policy ease up, and then you've started to see inflation really ticking its head back up, which is something that a few of these Fed chairs also had in their speeches yesterday, was that the big worry now is inflation. Yes, we do have jobs numbers, which are a bit of a concern, which she talked about a little bit later in here. The latest unemployment rate is 4.3%. It's right around maximum employment number, Hammock said. And while it may edge up this year, it is expected to fall again before long. On the inflation side, we are missing by a more meaningful number, by a full percentage point. And if we've been missing for 4.5 years, and I anticipate missing for the next couple of years, I think we should be very cautious in removing monetary policy restrictions, because I think it's important that we stay restrictive to bring the inflation back down to target. And this is something I've talked about quite heavily. I know Piper's brought it up as well. You can fix the job numbers by cutting the rates. It's going to take about 6 months to really see those job numbers get affected. But the big worry in the meantime is going to be that inflation starts ticking back up. And on top of that, we are seeing a massive slowdown, not just in the American economy, but in the economy in general. JP Morgan is expecting US GDP growth rate to slow to a crawl over the next 2 quarters. And this is normally when you start seeing things start to pick up. You're getting close to that holiday season, people wanting to spend a little more money here, and that's where you kind of want to watch for that big boom. Well, I'm not the only one that's kind of talked about the recessionary risks, the the slowing down that we've been seeing with the GDP being a big worry here. Economic activity in both the US and around the world is likely to slow considerably into the end of this year and into the beginning of 2026, according to JP Morgan Chase. In a forecast released Monday, the firm's economists see the US gross domestic product continuing along at a solid 2.5 annualized rate in the third quarter, but then declining to about half that for the following two periods. Specifically, the firm said GDP will increase by just a 1.2% pace for the fourth quarter of 2025 and Q1 of 2026, owing to the deceleration in the labor market, which is a big part of why the Fed has been wanting to cut rates. It would kind of increase those slowdown factors, but you're also not going to see that help inflation much, which would just continue on that spiral of you're seeing inflation increase, jobs are getting affected, you're seeing inflation increase because you have slowdown as well, and it's just a very, very fine line that the Fed is walking. Employment gains slowed to a stall in August, and hours worked are contracting on the quarter, developments that are unusual for an economy poised to generate above potential growth. So we will be watching these numbers quite heavily. We get GDP this week, so be watching on that economic calendar for our GDP numbers. I don't know if you have anything to add on that one, OC. I know you've talked quite a bit about not just a slowdown in America, but the slowdown that America sees affecting the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, well, we need to understand that the U.S. is the number one economy, especially right here in this part of the world, right? Basically having a huge impact all around it. And when we're talking about Canada, Mexico, or even South America, well, then it's the big buyer, right? At this point, when we see economy not really, like keep developing or keep evolving, and we see stagflation, well, then that means that, of course, it's not going to be consuming as much as it can, or it's going to be shutting down its doors, right? What it is, what any smart nation would do, right? Consume locally, or produce locally, consume locally, keep the money flowing locally, right? I mean, it just, who can blame them when we should be doing exactly the same? And, well, it's a little bit of a bummer. See those red cards possibilities coming down. It was expected though. But that also opens the opportunity to have not only a big retracement, which is what we need for a further continuation. Remember that I've talked about a huge range now. In that range, it is just like we talked about the flat pause of bearish continuation, but a flat, huge pause of bullish continuation, leading us up to a extended cycle. Once again, we don't have enough information at this point to call the extended cycle. Is not a call granted or anything like this, but we start seeing those kind of like Tetris pieces or blocks fall in place, right? They're not perfect, but right now they're getting that line set up for the big reset. And what is the big reset that I mean? Well, that is basically getting everything lined up, right? Just enough to have extended cycle, which will be creating, hey, you know what? We have a lot of things happening in the markets, just like we had on COVID-19, right? On and like where we have money printers going off, when we have governmental supplying money into the markets, or we might be seeing big chunks of or constantly rate cuts throughout a certain period of time that balances out what might be coming, right? Basically heading to a quote unquote right now non-existent, right, but soon to be talked about a soft landing. So if we get a soft landing, let's remember what happened. I mean, I do remember that couple of what was it? 1 year ago, we were no 2 years ago, we were talking about a soft landing, and Bitcoin was actually starting to take off, right? So what if we can range instead of going low, and then right after December, right? Or if we can hold 2 or 3 months from there, and we start getting now the new rate cuts, what if we start then pumping? We might be having a very shallow bear market, which is what I want to see, right? And why do I want to see that? Because that means the market cap is strong enough, and we'll be seeing more like behaving like Meta, like Google, like any other stock that has the same market cap, right? But without a CEO, which is much better because everybody here it's decentralized, right? That's why I like Bitcoin that much. So that is my thought right now. I mean, on global economies, it will create a chain reaction. We just need to see how the US is gonna react, and most likely, most of the southern countries are gonna duplicate and react almost in the same way that the US does. Like we've seen this in Mexico, rate cuts on the US, rate cuts on Mexico. I don't know, stuff like this, right? Governmental help to the people, well then nothing to the nothing to the other countries doing that because they don't have enough money. But that actually pushes to hey more buys to southern countries, maybe avocados, you name it. But yeah, absolutely, I think that's what I had to add to. We'll see how that it's been handled, because I think this is not quote unquote the over this is not over of this history, right? This story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we would really have to walk this fine line quite closely if we can have more of a sideways momentum on our assets. We see the dollar kind of keep losing some strength while the economy is trying to regain its strength. You could really have just a long period of sideways consolidation instead of seeing that harsher pullback. So it is something that has been talked about a little bit more, and we will just have to see if we actually can get that super cycle. Because, it gets talked about a lot and a lot, and we're just kind of walking these fine lines. Everyone says this cycle is different, and you've seen a lot more Bitcoin being bought than altcoins this cycle, which kind of does lead you to the theory that you might be able to see Bitcoin hold up price a little bit better and just continue on its path to the upside. Well, we did have another news article to kind of dive in here. And this is Trump meeting with top Democrats as their healthcare plan demands to fuel a government shutdown. And this is something that gets talked about quite frequently over and over and over, government shutdowns, because everyone just wants to stand on their super harsh principles of if I don't get exactly what I want, then you don't get anything that you want either. And this is where we see the government come to this let's play a game of chicken with the economy. Sometimes it has a big negative effect on the economy, and sometimes it doesn't, which is what this article kind of touches on. We will kind of get into that in just a second here. But I will be watching this story quite closely because this is a big negotiation between Trump and some Democrats to see if we can keep the government running. And as we dive on into this article here, you do see that the last few times that the government has shut down, it hasn't had a very massive impact on your assets. So let's get to where it was. I believe it was a little further down. I guess not there. Oh, there we go. If those ads would get out of the way. Nope. It didn't. Oh, it didn't have. I guess this one didn't have all those articles, but this was. This is that government shutdown that we will be watching for. You have seen them not really affect markets in general if it is for a shorter amount of time. If it does last for a longer amount of time, you sometimes see some positive movements in your assets because there is a little less regulation there. Hopping over to this one, Polymarket is starting to bet on the odds we see a government shutdown. And we're at 68% odds that we see a government shutdown. And we will be following this one as it progresses. This happens quite often, and normally don't see the very much negative impact on your assets. So definitely something to kind of keep your eyes on. Oh, here's where that was. Piper had sent me some data on when we see government shutdowns. So here's where this is what I was looking for. Piper had sent this on over earlier. Let me get this zoomed on in here. So there have been 20 government shutdowns or funding gaps, and the S&P has averaged essentially flat during those shutdown periods, with slight dips or rallies depending on the context. Short shutdowns, a few days to a week, normally have very little effect. Market may dip briefly due to uncertainty but recover quickly once resolved. Longer shutdowns, 2 weeks plus, can weigh on sentiment more noticeably, especially in sectors tied to government spending like defense, contractors, and federal services. For example, the 2018 to 2009 shutdown saw a 35 days where the S&P was on rise about 10%, but that was likely driven by Fed policy and the broader market conditions, not the shutdown itself. And this is why I say it doesn't always have the most massive impact on your assets price going up or going down here. Treasury bonds, though, are usually do quite well during these shutdown periods. During shutdown risk, investors often rotate into government bonds despite the irony of the government being closed. US dollar and risk assets, the dollar often stays stable or even strengthens slightly as globals seek safety. And this is that thing to kind of keep your eye on. This might actually bring some strength to the dollar in the short-term time frame because people will be trying to hedge with safety. You might also see a little bit of gold prices going up as well. So, historical takeaway, markets care more about the economy, the Fed policy, and earnings than shutdowns. So, not something to be massively worried about on the investment side. Shutdowns usually have a minimal effect on your assets depending on the length of time. So, we did have a few things to kind of go over on the market side of things, which has been quite mixed as well. You did see the Asia markets really seeing a little bit of a dip. You got your HSI coming down 0.7%. You've got the Shanghai coming down 0.2%. The Nikkei on the opposite side did get a little bit of a boost yesterday. On your American side of things, quite mixed here. Your Dow Jones up 0.4%, while your S&P 500 and your Nasdaq are looking a little bit flat, down 0.02%, and the Nasdaq down 0.2%. You do have your VIX on an increase, and we are approaching that 17% mark, so you might be seeing a little more volatility here. Keep your eyes on that VIX. If we start breaking above that 17% mark, you might start seeing a little bit more volatility in your markets. And with that volatility, I'm sure OC has some big plays that he's been watching that he wants to share with you. So, you got your eyes on any hot moves on the market today, OC?
Well, we have an ongoing trade on TRX that is playing out fantastically. This is the one that we've been tracking so far. So I would say keep it open. We should be already into a 25% still in here. We already have taken a couple of portions. And well, then we're gonna leave the rest of that 25% for a Valhalla trade, right? Well, it's not a Valhalla because it's not really to the moon. It is, well, if the moon was below the earth, all the way down. So let's just bring up my predictive ranges here and my support and resistances, and we're gonna be looking for this target right down here for TRX for a continuation. If you are not into the TRX trade, don't worry. Let's just do a possible reentry calculation now that we're seeing a couple of possible retracements, and that is gonna be following this couple of trend lines that we have forming right here, right? Let me just go over those really quickly. And here it is. All right. So the first thing that we need to go, it is losing this support. So going straight through it and then having a one candle or two candle retracement in here, this is going to be your entry, and then continuation for your, in that case, TP number one and TP number two. All right. So right here, TP number one and TP number two. So that's the one I'm looking at this point. Let's also go to AIXBT. AIXBT is really struggling to hold the zone. Money flow is not rushing in. Volumetrics is not increasing. Yes, we have a flip of the ribbon. Same story with XRP and Bitcoin not having the actual bounce. And what a bummer, because we do have a smart money entry right above us, right here. Here, this is it, right? And I mean, it would have made sense to for it to hit it, but it is what it is. Just like in a strong upwards movement, we have bullish pennants. In this case, we're having a bearish pennant. So be careful, possible short incoming with AIXBT. So keep your eyes peeled as we start moving back up and then down. TP areas, well, then, as you can see right here, I have an alert at 0.09, but I still haven't entered on this short just yet. So for that, let's go and add a possible short. We still don't have the trigger. And let's go for that possible shorty here. And we're going to be looking for either breakout of the previous or of the current flag, and then having a break of structure, or better yet, hitting a little bit higher here, right? Not hitting this area right here, because why would it? And then getting your stop loss right here and aiming for your next big target. So that will be the setup for AIXBT. And well, TRX, we already have a reentry. XRP looking for a further continuation. I believe that XRP does have the potential to get somewhere around 292 right here. So let's add an alert. In fact, let's recycle this alert. And then from this, just in case we're in a very dramatic downtrend, let's push it a little bit lower. Oh, come on. We tend not to hit real targets like this one when we are in a strong downtrend. So we can still make it up in here and then a continuation downwards. And when once we're doing that, important on XRP, we need to start looking for bottoming patterns like in this case. All right. So keep your eyes peeled somewhere around this area because it is a big support on XRP. So adding my alerts right here. And once more, I want to go over one more coin, which is BNB, because oh man, I mean that BNB is being volatile. Let's go check that out. Right click, open it. Here it is. We have, of course, the movement to the upside. We were looking for a bounce down right there, right? Important, if we were hitting this zone as we were predicting, well, then we would have been a little bit onto a strong bounce. But guess what? We actually tried to do it. We are going for the bounce. We're getting back to where is liquidity not only there, we also have a golden line right here. So be prepared for a possible dead cat bounce. So let's add a dot alert right here and that for that possible dead cat bounce. Let's push a little bit higher. And well, we're going to be looking for this movement on our oscillator. Still money flows flat, but your volumetrics it's decreasing, and your true seven, it is just not holding. So let me just get rid of everything here so we have a cleaner chart, and we're gonna be going for this possibility. All right. So keep your eyes peeled with BNB, because I think that could make a very nice short. Again, looking for the flip of the ribbon. If for some reason the flip of the ribbon happens up here, most likely we're going to be going for a double top and then rejection. All right. But still looking for that bearish scenario. Other than that, that's the outcomes that I'm looking at today. Not really into many trades. Just trying to see the direction of the markets, which I mean, I believe it's going to be going downwards. And then most likely tonight, I'll be engaging with 1 to 4 trades depending on what's going on. I also have on my eyes or through or looking at ADA. I'm looking at Link, and I'm looking at HBAR. HBAR, because despite it has its movement upwards, we are impacting this support, or this sorry, resistance in ADA, because it's struggling a lot. So ADA might be running faster to the downside than expected. So let's go for a short position, and I'm gonna try to get it as we retrace up. My stop loss is gonna be right around this area, and that's what I'm gonna be looking for ADA. So yeah, that's what I got so far. Let me try it back to you, my friend. Oh, I
Hit
just
me. Hitting.
reached limit alert, so I'll fix that.
I was about to say, looks like you're about to enter a trade, sir. Well, while you do
There
that,
you go. Got it.
let me get a few of the things that I've been looking at. This is on the traditional side. I know that everyone here likes their crypto markets. I've been leaning a little more heavily on the TradFi system. I have been seeing a lot of strong movements towards the upside. We talked about FIG over on Good Morning Crypto when they IPO'd. I didn't play that IPO game. I was waiting to see where it found its bottom. And since launch, it has pulled back down, lost its golden pocket here, and then found its strong support on the platinum pocket. I am waiting to see how we react off of the midline of our giant CME gap here to see if we come back down, really hold the bottom side support of our CME gap, and that's where I'd probably look at taking some entries here. This has been very, very battered down. It is a competitor with the Adobe suite of products. They do a very good job. AI is heavily integrated into Figma, so I will be keeping my eye on this going forward. And if I do enter on Fig, I will let you guys know. This has been on my watch list for quite a while, and I was waiting for a decent pullback. Also, on the TradFi side of things, I talked about SERV Robotics a long time ago, and I've been buying as we held the 236. And we got a nice little move off of the 236 up to our 50% line. And now I'm waiting to see if we hold $12.88 for a continuation into our CME gap. This is a big CME gap. It has been resistance for quite a while. We did see some rejection off of it once we got back up to it. Just waiting to see if we hold that $12.88 point. That is a CME gap here as well. It was some old resistance from back here. You have seen that really come with some selling pressure every time we've gotten above it quite recently, and waiting to see if we can now hold this as some support here. I did bring up on my channel last week a few other stocks to kind of keep your eye on. One of those was Circle. We did talk about some strong movements towards the upside. Once we had got above an old trend line here, it was support for a while, became resistance. We got that move back above it. We've seen some nice strong money flow coming on in, and we are trying to hold the golden pocket right now. As you can see, we got that nice move up. We ended up closing out that CME gap, bouncing off the top of that CME gap, and we're really dipping back down with a little bit of strength here. But that golden pocket, not a bad point if you're looking for some entries again. Daily is looking a little bit toppy here, but your real hopium is sitting here on the weekly. Let's get that zoomed on out here. As you can kind of see, we do have another CME gap to kind of keep your eye on. That would be if we dip back below our support line, or what was our trend line, and see it really come in as resistance all over again. So look for some bounces on our golden pocket for now. We are getting a little bit of some green money flow on those higher term time frames. This hourly is also looking a little bit nice for that golden pocket holding on up here. You do see a little bit of sideways momentum coming in here on the prime oscillator. Let me get that moved over so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. We got that nice green money flow here on the hourly. We are holding that golden pocket quite nicely for now. We do have a little bit of a CME gap on that golden pocket, but that would be a midline test on that small CME gap right here that we would get some bouncing action back above. We are looking to see if we hold that support there. I wouldn't be too afraid to, me personally, buy back in. I have been waiting for that opportunity, really see some strength coming back into circle, and this might be it, folks. Another asset that I was taking a look at on the TradFi side of things that I teased last week was CoreWeave. We did see CoreWeave get a massive sell-off after their unlock period opened up for those first initial investors. We got that dip back to our golden pocket here and really saw a nice liquidity sweep below it before we started making some movements back towards the upside. I and a few of my buddies were buying at that golden pocket bounce, and we've been looking quite nice on our gains. So CoreWeave continuing on a little bit of an uptrend here, trying to hold this giant CME gap that was above us. That's where we started seeing some heavy dips back down to our downside here, waiting to see if we can close this out right now. That hourly is looking a little bit toppy, but you've got plenty of room to run here on the daily. You're starting to print a little bit of a red candle, but look at this money flow, folks. We did see that massive sell-off, came back down to the golden pocket. Now we're trying to break back into some positive money flow here. So watch that money flow, see if we can get back to the positive here. You could really get some strong upside moves on CoreWeave. Doesn't mean you don't see a little bit of some dips on the shorter term time frame. Seeing us really hold up that 382 at $128 would be an area I would look for a potential entry if you're not already in this move that I had talked about the other week. I don't know if OC's got some more things to take a look at here, but that's pretty much what I had on the TradFi side of things. I don't know if there are any requests of anything to take a look at, but we've got about 15 minutes before we got to wrap up this show. So you got anything else for the people, OC?
Not much. Just at this point, everything is looking bearish. Everything is looking that we already have downs. So don't let it trick you. That's what I would say. I sometimes, and that's because right now I'm answering to a buddy of mine that is asking me, "Hey, uh, I'm seeing XRP moving. I mean, it's bouncing. It's already bouncing, as you mentioned. So is it safe to trade to long?" And the answer is not really. I mean, yes, we have a bouncing here, and if we go to lower time frames, yeah, absolutely. I was telling me, hey, I'm not going to be longing this until I have higher lows and higher highs, right? Technically speaking, we got them. Technically speaking, this is a higher low and this is a higher high. But look at our dynamic reactor and quantum reactor. They're both concentrated at 2.9. So, I mean, when I turn on the rest of my indicators in here or even go to the 4 hours, well, then, yes, it seems like we can reach up to 292. So, is it really worth it? I mean, trading it from right now to that almost 2%, knowing that in the 30 minutes we're heading or we're getting closer. Look at that at 290. We're having a dynamic reactor in quantum reactor crossing downwards as we have decreasing volume. I would say for me, it's not worth it, right? So is the question remains, can I long this? Yes, you can. I mean, nobody's physically stopping you, right? From doing that. Just like trying, I don't know if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, hey, nobody's stopping you to put that back into that other bag. But do you really want to do that? Right? I mean, I really would encourage you, given having a stronger look to it before you commit to maybe along in these areas, because this is not looking that great. I rather, and that's what I'm telling him. Hey, I rather not to take this long. All right. even if this long it gets being stronger, and then but wait for the actual structure, which would be breakout, retest, continuation, and long it much higher. Yes, did I quote unquote miss on a, I don't know, a 4% um trade? Yeah, maybe. But that implies that I'm skipping the danger zone, right? I want to trade what's it's easy. I don't want to trade what is unknown, or I don't want to trade what is giving me I don't know, counter action vibes, if that makes sense. If anything, I will be planning for actually short somewhere around here, right? And then aiming to the liquidity zone and then possibly to previous lows. But still, this is still not a given trade because we're not below that zero line right now. But yeah, other than that, stay safe, guys. Don't let the market trick you. All right. And I would say let it kind of like a settle down, and then we'll look for entries whenever the markets are much easier.
All right. Well, I did have one other thing that I was looking at yesterday, and that was a link trade. We did trade that together as a community. We were looking for that 382 bounce. We are starting to see a little bit of some local resistance. And on that shorter term time frame, we did call out where we might start seeing some resistance. And that's right about where we started seeing that very strong resistance here. So nice strong 382 bounce all over again, and we are getting very close to that TP2. That TP1 was sitting right here where we started to see our first little bit of resistance, waiting to really see if on that higher term time frame we continue to get some bouncing action. We do have some very strong support directly below us on this shorter term time frame, coming in at $21.71. That's where we got all three of these bounces here and continued on up to our resistance that was up here at $22.05. So looking for that next little area up here at $22.34, we would want to zoom on out just a little bit here, take a look at that hourly chart, and this is where you're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. So might not be able to actually hit that TP2 at all. We are starting to see that sideways momentum coming on in. We're printing smaller green candles here on the histogram as well, and you're seeing our first reversal signal starting to flash on that prime oscillator as well. Looking to see if we continue on towards the upside just a little bit. Might see a little bit of some pullback if you don't hold $2.71 though. It's a very quick trip all the way back down towards our 382, coming in at $21.15 there. So taking a look at that hourly, at that daily, that's where we really see the chance of coming back down if you don't hold those key levels that I was just talking about on the shorter term time frame. We are getting that break below our zero line, prime oscillator starting to point back down. So seeing a 382 bounce all over again as we're getting a little bit closer to the bottom side, not too unexpected, might be a chance at another entry if we hold that 382, really see that strong bouncing action all over again, would give you a chance for another little bit of a long there. If you don't hold that, looking all the way back down at $20.05 would be a move to watch for. I don't know if you got anything else on the charts, OC, but if you do, I'm going to toss that back over to you.
That's it for me at this point. I'm just looking at well, the same, just kind of like waiting to see movement, and well, then we are, I would say, at the middle of setting things up, right? We haven't reached really big resistances, and we haven't ticked out on that clock, right? And that's talking about, for example, what was it? Link, not link, ADA, right? That is actually moving downwards right now on us. But other than that, be a little patient, wait for to see the market reaction, wait for your oscillator, and then on your oscillator take your trigger or take your trade, right? Other than that, that's what I got, my friend. Muted.
Was muted there. Before we wrap that show on up, I did want to talk a little bit about the heavy data drop that we're going to be having. It is not actually data. It is Fed Chair Jerome Powell. He will be speaking here soon. That is coming out at 12:35 Eastern Time. So keep your eye on that. I do expect a little bit of a market shakeup on that, especially if he starts towing a little bit of a different line there, talking about, okay, well, we did cut to help jobs, but we are seeing inflation remain a little bit sticky there. That could be a little bit worrisome, and we could see that secondary rate cut chance coming back down a little bit more. Watch for that speech. We do have some heavy data as well coming out the rest of the week, and we talked about that one on my show yesterday. But we do get that 30-year mortgage rate applications tomorrow. We get new home sales as well. We have been seeing that increase quite recently because of that move up that we've been getting. Looks like OC dropped for a second. Let me get him back up there so he can tell you why you should hit the like button in just a second. But we do have some home sales data coming out. We did see a little bit of a slowdown on new home sales, which has really been holding up that home sales data. Scrolling into Thursday, though, this is where we really get that heavy data drop that we will want to keep our eyes on. We did touch on that a little bit earlier, and that's going to be our GDP data, our durable goods orders, and wholesale inventories. So some big moves to kind of prepare for. That might be why you see that move downwards, especially if these people are preparing for a little bit of a stronger move. They would want to catch more of that move towards the upside by selling off on your heads so that they can buy back a little bit lower. So keep your eyes. We do have some heavy data drops coming out a little later in the week, and a lot of these moves to the downside might be some preparation for a bigger move towards the upside. We did talk about those upside targets at the beginning of the show, and that would be where we're seeing all of the liquidity on that chart there. So you want to tell the people why they should hit the like button today? And I believe you have a class you got to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quickly, guys, thank you so much for joining. It's always such a pleasure. A quick reminder to click that like button, because this time, if you do, well, then if you're getting out of hair, well, maybe you might get a little bit more hairs on your head this time. I don't know. Give it a try. That's how I had my curl on the stage so long, because I always click that like button.
Well, there you go, folks. Maybe Piper needs to hit a lot more like buttons. Get it. But much love, Piper. Sorry, but all right, folks. Well, I believe we have a redirect set up to Crypto Princess. When you get on over there, throw those graduation caps in the chat. Let her know that we sent you over there. We do have two other shows here on the Piper Academy. At 8 p.m., we've got trade setups with OC. That man does an amazing job on the charts. If you haven't been showing on up, you definitely should be. Usually I'm just lurking in the background because I'm trying to get ready for bed, because he goes live when I'm trying to, wrap up my day. But for all you late night folks, that is the place to be. And very, very early in the mornings, I go live right here on the Piper Academy to set you on up for the pre-market. So tune on in to the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. And until next time, make sure to trade safe, because you might start seeing a little more volatility as that VIX continues to climb towards the upside. But I will see y'all in the chats the rest of the day, because I will be off, and I will be holding a few Discord sessions a little bit later, dropping some assets to watch out for, especially if those recession warnings keep on flashing. But until next time, trade safe, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
That's the rap. Chart stack data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time. Alumni strong, we built from the grind. Lessons in the market that'll outlive time. Knowledge is profit, you know how we run. Till the next one, stay sharp, get it done.
You can't handle the truth. Emotional damage.
We'll see you at the next
They don't
one.
know what the fuck they're doing.
Morning market report out. 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 Out.
Boom shakalaka.
We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. Ow.
That was awesome, dude.
Hey, it didn't break. What else you got?